Alright friends, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a video that we all know and that we all love. It's going to be a very dumb Karen sovereign citizen traffic stop that doesn't go the way she wants. Enjoy the video.
Hi there.
Yep.
Hey, I'm Officer Kennedy. Remember, took place earlier. No conversations being recorded. Okay.
Yes, it is.
The reason for the stop today is that unregistered tags are expired. Do you have your license on now? Is that a firearm under your jacket? Don't reach for it. Just answer it. I don't know. I'm asking if it's a firearm. So if you reach for it, we have issues.
It is.
Okay. Don't ever reach for it. Okay. Okay. Will you do me a favor? I'd like to remove that from you.
I would rather remove it myself
Okay,
than
you're not
place
going to
it
do
on
that. You're not going to put a firearm in
Sir,
your Okay, so just hear me
I
out.
am
Stop
not-
talking. Just let me explain, okay? It's for my safety. I don't mean any harm to you.
Excuse me, but it's about my safety.
Okay, I'm not going to hurt you, nor am I putting off an intimidating
Well, I'm not
just
going to
listen.
hurt you.
This is what I would like to do, okay? All I would like you to do is cross your fingers like this, put your hand on your head, and I'd like to just grab it and take it out. I'm not going to seize
No,
it or
I
anything
do not
like that.
want my weapon outside of my vehicle.
Where's your ID?
I do not want my weapon outside of the vehicle.
Where is your
I
ID?
am willing to put my weapon on the dash so that you can clearly
Do not
see it.
touch that gun.
Fine.
Okay.
Then it'll
I'll
see
tell you
where
what.
it's at.
Put the paperwork on the dash for me. Put the paperwork on the dash.
Why?
Because I'm telling you to, and it's a lawful order. Put the paperwork on the dash now, and put your hands on the steering wheel and don't move them, okay? You're being confrontational, you have a firearm, we're not going to play that game. I'm going to get your name, date of birth, and I'm going to continue my traffic stop. Do you understand that?
I will just plead the fifth.
That's fine, I recommend that. Well, if you're not going to plead the fifth, you're going to need to present me with an ID. Can you point to where your ID is?
No, sir, you told me to put my
I
hands
did,
on the
but
steering
you
wheel.
told me you were going to plead the fifth, which means you're not going to talk anymore. Okay, if you're not going to talk, you can't tell me your name and your date of birth. Does that make sense? So will you tell me your name and date of birth?
Not until I present this paperwork.
Okay. 3216. Can I get another unit? I'm going to get my chief down here for you.
Okay.
Keep your hands right where they're at.
Alright guys, I had to turn my head around Ash Ketchum style because shit's about to get serious. So, right off the bat, she's a sovereign citizen. You'll find that out later. Right now, she's just being a non-compliant, gun-illiterate, dumb Karen. That's what she's being right now. I've told this story because it's exactly like this. My traffic stop that I've talked about a million times. I was traveling from Virginia Beach to Kentucky. I think this was in Tennessee when I got pulled over. I was speeding at 3 o'clock in the morning, or 2 or 3 in the morning. I was the only car on the road. Officer walked up and, "Officer, my gun is in the glove box. What would you like me to do with it?" He said, "Ah, man, you're being just a chill guy. Just throw that shit on the passenger seat, we'll be good." Talked for 20, 30 minutes, ate my ticket like a man, and went about my day. That was it. I was being a chill guy, so the officer's like, he's not going to shoot me in the head at 3 o'clock in the morning. This lady giving off the complete opposite vibes, and that's why the officer's being like this.
I will keep them there as long as I can.
Okay. Perfect. They need to remain there, and your hand needs to stay away from them.
And I already told you, I will keep them there as long as I can. This is not exactly a comfortable position.
Not yet. Female's verbally uncooperative.
I am not uncooperative.
Firearm
I
on
am
the face.
simply answering you without lying.
Not at this time.
See, you guys always do that. You guys always make something up that isn't there.
What did I make up today, ma'am?
You're saying I'm being confrontational. I'm not being
Okay,
confrontational.
maybe let me
I
use a
am-
different word. Argumentative.
Well, maybe argumentative, but I'd say so are you, because you're not getting everything you want exactly when you want it.
Yeah, because I gotta survive every contact, and
I
I'm gonna
understand
get
that.
what I want when there's a firearm involved.
You know what?
gonna happen.
I'm sorry, but it's the police that have proved themselves to be unreliable.
Oh yeah? Have you ever met me before?
Yes, I
You've
have.
met me. Where did you meet me?
Matter of fact, really doesn't matter.
Okay, so you haven't met me, so therefore you have no idea whether I'm reliable or not.
All I know is you're wearing a monkey suit.
A monkey suit? I believe it's a police uniform and a badge. But that's fine. I get what you're trying to do. You're mad at the badge, not at me. I'm just trying to go
I
home
don't
every day.
trust the badge.
Okay, you don't have to trust me, but not that I don't trust you, I can't trust you because I don't know you. Okay, I stop hundreds
Okay. that's-
possibly thousands of people every year, and I have to survive each of those contacts for
And I
a
understand
duration of 25 years.
I understand that.
I know how to do that, and I know how I want people to react if they do have a firearm, and so that's what I go off of. Okay.
And I was willing to compromise with you, but you're not willing to compromise. You want it
What
your
is the
way.
compromise?
I'm willing to put it on the dash, or even to allow you to put it on the dash. I would
like to do that.
willing to allow you to remove it from my vehicle.
Okay. I can work with you on that a little bit. If I'm going to put it on your dash, I'm going to unload it first.
That's fine.
Okay. Will you put your hands on your head with your fingers crossed so I can remove it from you? Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other firearms with you?
No.
Okay.
Can I put my hands down now?
Yes, ma'am. If you could keep them at least visible, that would be wonderful.
Now, can I begin going over this paperwork with me that you're going to thoroughly disagree with me on anyway?
I'm not saying I'm going to disagree with you. It may be legitimate, okay?
It is legitimate.
Okay.
I've done
Well, that's
my
fine.
research on my own.
Once I get this done, we'll move on with the rest of the stop.
It would have been a lot easier to push the deal.
You don't get to decide how things go. Okay. I'm all about respecting you and trying to work with you.
I was
but
trying to be helpful.
You were not. I was asking you to do something, and you were refusing to.
I was talking about with getting the bullets out of the gun. I was just trying. It would have been easier and faster to get the bullets out if you'd have pushed the release.
Okay.
That's all I was trying to say.
Before that, I was giving you a lawful order, and you were refusing to obey that. For personal feelings, I understand that. You did not prefer it that way. But there's times during a traffic stop or an interaction with police, you have to set your personal opinion or feelings aside to obey a lawful order.
You agreed to put my weapon on my dash.
Afterwards.
No.
Correct.
You
After I told you
to put my weapon.
Okay, we're going to stop this. I'm going to wait for the
dash.
chief. We'll go from there. I'm going to put it on the dash now. You need to not reach for it, and I'm going to put it on that side.
All right, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit. You didn't miss anything. It's just him putting the gun on the dashboard and them waiting for the chief. She keeps saying, I'm not going to read this paperwork yet, because then I'll have to read it again when the chief gets there. So I just said, fuck it, let's skip to when the chief gets there so we can talk about this paperwork that is more than likely a sovereign citizen packet that has nothing to do with anything.
Chief, will you roll that window down for the chief so we can hear everything that's being said? So I have the firearm now. It's clear from her. So essentially, approached. I know she had the firearm on her hip. Not a big deal. I asked her if it was a firearm that she'd point at it or tell me instead of reaching it. She reached for it. Anyway, I asked her to put her hands on her head so I could remove it from her and take it back to my vehicle to secure it during the rest of the stop, because she's mildly argumentative. She refused to do that. We ended up coming to a compromise. She let me take it off her and unload it. So it's been a bit of a confrontation. I've asked her for a license multiple times. She said she wouldn't give it until you got here, so that's where we're at. So can I have your license?
I don't want to repeat myself.
Okay, can I have your license, please?
Just real quick, man, just so you know, my name's Chief Bruce. I got my camera going too, so it's recording, okay?
Tim, I've got my camera recording as well.
Okay.
Now, as I told you before I relinquish my information, I am going to go over this paperwork.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So, as you're asking me for my driver's license, I do want you to know that the right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile is not a mere privilege which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right which he has under his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Under this constitutional guarantee, one may, therefore, under normal conditions, travel at his inclination along the public highways or in public places, and while conducting himself in an orderly and decent manner, neither interfering with nor disturbing another's rights. He will be protected, not only in his person, but in his safe conduct. And I can give you where to find that if you would like.
If we don't need to, the U.S. Supreme Court has already squashed that, so...
No, the U.S. Supreme Court has not.
Yes, they have. And you do have a right to travel. You have a right to travel by your feet or your horse, but you have to have a driver's license.
No, you do not.
We can argue this later, so you need to provide the officer with your driver's license, or you will be arrested for failed to carry and present.
For what crime?
Failed to carry and present a driver's license. That's a Class C misdemeanor in the state of Oregon.
Without a crime, it is not a failure.
But you have to let go of it. You have to
Why
present it to him.
Why do I have to let go of it? I presented it. You see it.
Do you have a concealed handgun license with you?
No,
Okay. Do you have insurance for the vehicle?
not required.
Okay.
Okay. Whether Whether you feel it's required or not, do you have insurance information? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you have registration information? Whether it's required in your opinion or not, do you have...
I don't know if it's here in the car or not.
Okay, so you just don't know. Okay, that's fine. I'll be back.
Alright, so she didn't want to give over her license. She didn't have insurance, and she's carrying a handgun illegally. Not to mention, it sounded like Black's Law Dictionary 2nd edition. That was part of her word salad. She was carrying the handgun illegally. For shits and giggles, she didn't have her concealed carry, so I just looked up if Oregon is a constitutional carry state. No, they do allow open carry, and I made a joke about the cities that don't allow you to open carry, but I decided to cut that from this clip because I was quite mean. But yeah, so she's just fucking up all along, and she's facing, because of the gun thing, she's facing some, like, legitimate time.
This is the deal, okay? You need to step out of the vehicle because you're being placed under arrest for carrying a concealed firearm.
You're placing me under arrest for a concealed firearm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask what led you to that decision?
Okay, well, you're carrying a concealed firearm, and that's a crime in Oregon.
Ma'am, do you recall I asked you if that was a gun underneath your jacket?
And I said yes.
Okay, so by me not being able to tell whether it was a gun or not, it was not in open plain view, right? Okay, so it would have been concealed if I can't tell that it's a gun.
You could obviously see the butt of it.
If you got your sweatshirt covering that gun, it's concealed. An open carry is open carry. Nothing obstructing the firearm or the holster that it's in.
So had it been on the dash or like flat on the passenger seat,
Or had it been on your side without a sweatshirt covering it, that's not concealed. But you have it under
So
clothing,
now
that's
you guys
concealed.
want to nitpick.
and additionally, it's also a crime to present me with a driver's license knowing that it's suspended. I see you were convicted of driving while suspended in late December of 2021, which was only a few months ago. Additionally, you haven't been reinstated at all since then, so there's a pretty good inclination that you knew you were suspended and knew that license was not valid. That's also a crime in the state of Oregon.
You're making assumptions.
No, that's...
You're making assumptions.
Oh, as far as your knowledge
you're
of that?
Assuming whether I knew or did not know.
Right, I never said I knew for a fact. Okay? I'm not in your mind, I can't know that. But there's pretty good evidence to show that you likely knew. But additionally from that, for the concealed firearm, yes, you are under arrest. So we just need you to step out. We don't want it to be an incident or anything. Just ask you to step out and face the panel up there for us, please.
So maybe like I explained to you, this isn't the place to argue it. That just makes things worse. That's why there's court.
Yeah, you guys looked for the most petty thing that you could to arrest me for.
Okay, well, we didn't
And
look
I'm
for
willing
it.
to bet that in the process, you guys have got a whole lot of other things going on. So before we jump to that, I'd like to know what I was pulled over for.
I told you, you're stopped for expired tags. Okay, additionally, the registered owner of the vehicle is suspended. It appeared to look similar to you based off the picture I pulled up before I stopped you. But in and of itself, I can stop you if the registered owner of the vehicle is suspended and the description would match. Additionally, you have a light housing on the back here that's broken. I didn't notify you that that's why I stopped you, because I was primarily just stopping you for the tags. But I mean, we can point at things, but I don't want to nitpick with you. I don't want to argue with you. Okay, this is kind of what we're going to do. You're obviously very familiar with the courts. You referenced the Supreme Court earlier in the stop. Okay, so you know that that's the place to argue this stuff. So at this point, that's why you're under arrest. Okay, so we're going to ask that you step out. We don't want an argument with you. We don't want any altercation. So your car, so you were convicted of driving while suspended recently. So
You have no insurance on the vehicle.
You guys have no legal right to tell it.
Okay, again, you can argue that in court.
But I'm talking to you now.
Okay, this isn't the place for these arguments, okay, ma'am? So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and step out of the vehicle, and if you refuse
I will
to...
step
okay.
out of the vehicle. However, the U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled that a vehicle is a household effect.
Okay.
Therefore, you have no right to tow it.
Okay.
Okay, so I did some brainstorming, and off the top of my head, I could not come up with any Supreme Court decision that ruled a car as a household good. I know it's technically like effects under the Fourth Amendment, but that doesn't have any bearing on towing it from the side of the road. They tow it to cover, the safety of your car and to cover their own asses. Cover their own asses being, if they didn't tow it, they would more than likely have to station a police officer at the vehicle indefinitely until you could come pick it up. And seeing as how she had expired tags, a suspended license, and no insurance, it could be a while. So they're just going to say, okay, random tow company for this week or this day, come pick it up. You guys can house it safely. You can have that car in car jail until she can come pick it up.
Again, you can argue that in court. You can argue that, you can file lawsuits, you can do what you like.
So,
Okay.
in other words, what you're saying is that you don't care
Get him on the camera.
that you are stomping all over my country.
What I care about is this is my job. Okay, I am educated. I'm informed. I get the training on laws and court rulings.
But that does not
Okay.
mean that you know all the laws.
Okay.
And that does not mean that you are kept up to date
Right.
on the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings.
Right. So I'm pretty kept up to date. And again,
I've
if
done my
I'm
research.
wrong, I'll eat crow later. Okay. But this isn't the
Eating
place
crow
for it.
later is not going to help me.
Okay. Well, it might. So, go, ma'am. Go ahead and step out of the
In the
vehicle. You're under
meantime,
arrest.
you guys are taking something that you have no legal right to take.
Again, not the place for the argument.
I have not even said that I'm going to tow it yet, but we need you to step out now so we can get you in custody safely, and then we'll go from there. So please face that way. Face that way and put your hands behind your back.
Ow.
Good.
Would you
Do
please
you need
be
two sets of
gentle?
cuffs?
I have a right shoulder injury.
Okay.
So
Chief, will you
please
hold
be
this
gentle.
arm? We'll put two sets of cuffs on you.
And please don't.
We'll do our very best. I'm only limited by these two cuffs.
Too high.
It'd be a little better if you were able to hold a little more still.
I'm sorry that I'm not standing still enough for you. I'm a little bit scared.
Okay. Let me check the tightness on this one.
Real quick, ma'am,
One of
you
these
do have the right to
places
remain
that-
silent. Anything you say can't be used against the law. You have the right not to say present lawyer being questioned. If you're not or to hire a lawyer, or be appointed to represent you at no expense. Do you understand those rights, ma'am?
I'm going to double lock these just so they don't tighten up anymore on you. Okay, man. I'll have you walk back this way with me. To the front of my car here.
Okay, I know you say you're pleading the fifth, but do you have someone who is a licensed, valid driver who can come take control of your vehicle within a reasonable amount of time, within the next 20 minutes or so?
Bryson,
Bryson.
his neighbor.
Okay. Are you still living at the Canterville address? It's on your license? I'm only asking because I'm trying to think about how long it's going to take somebody to get there.
Yes, I live in Canterville.
Okay. Would you like to call Bryson to see if he can come get your vehicle?
I would appreciate it.
Okay.
And that's the video. Stomping on her rights, I didn't see that. The officer and the fucking chief even showed up. And the chief is even like, bro, I'm not trying to tow your shit. Do you have somebody who can actually drive it? Can you have them come pick it up? And then she, doesn't want to give her address. Like, ma'am, it was already on your license. I got suspended. We know that address in the last 5 places you lived. We already know where you're at, so just tell us. So she was being a little bitch about it. Typical sovereign citizen, talking nonsense about nonsense because they think they're right because they did some research on their own. Ma'am, you're an idiot. You make Forrest Gump look like a genius. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.